Hey there everyone, thanks for tuning in today. This video is going to be something very different from my usual content. Today we're going to be investigating the strange world of rare Xbox One controllers. There's a ton of these that I want to cover today, and some of these are much funnier or more interesting than you might think. I'm going to be getting most of my information today from the website Console Variations, which is a pretty interesting place, so check it out if any of this sparks your curiosity. Also, before anyone in the comments mentions it, this video is very much inspired by Whimzu's Wacky Console series, which you should totally check out. So with that said, let's get into this. The Xbox One has a ton of controller variants, especially compared to its predecessor, the Xbox 360, which had like 4. That's part of why I chose this console to go over today. So there are a couple of different types of controller variants though, and like many things, these categories don't work perfectly, not everything fits into a category, but they help guide our discussion. The first category includes plain controller variants. Here's one example, the black controller. Here's another example, the white controller. This category also has more interesting color combinations like camo and whatever else, but for the most part, these controllers don't accumulate a lot of rarity. Console Variations lists a ton of these, and some are pretty cool, but we won't be talking about them today. The next category, while a bit more interesting but still not quite rare, are controllers for specific games that were publicly available for sale. Some of these include different Halo controllers, the Titanfall controller, which I actually have, spoiler alert, it's awesome, and the Minecraft controllers, which are a rarer example. There are also quite a few of these variations. If you're interested in these types of controllers, there's a pretty good video on YouTube from Xbox themselves going over these. It's a pretty good video except for the fact that the title is very much a lie, and these are just the controllers that they made for sale, with a few exceptions. Part of why I wanted to make this video was so you could see cooler controllers that you might not hear about or that Xbox doesn't advertise. I won't be covering most of the controllers that show up in that video. So now we're getting into the cool stuff. This next category of controllers are those that were either giveaways or sold in very limited numbers at a specific location. Sometimes these giveaways were public or they were giveaways for VIPs or maybe even the press. These controllers will make up a majority of what's in this video. And lastly, we have the final category, which includes the extremely limited or even one-off controllers made for or given to a specific person. These are usually just controllers with a new paint job or stickers, but they're officially released by Microsoft. They're not just customs, which also do exist. Also, there are unlicensed releases that still come from notable companies, so they're worth mentioning, and there are a couple of official Microsoft releases for third-party controllers like PowerA controllers that have accumulated some rarity. We'll be looking at those too. Now, as you can tell, these categories are kind of convoluted and don't work for everything, and there are definitely controllers, including ones we'll talk about today, that don't fit into any of these categories. I kind of just wanted to throw them out there to put these controllers in perspective and give some context for what we're going to be looking at today. Also, please note, I'll probably miss a bunch of these because there are just so many of these controllers. This list will be sorted by how Console Variations list their rarity, more or less, which for a lot of these controllers, it's up for debate because some of them are just one-offs or they might not be sought after, so take the order with a grain of salt. It's just a good way to organize the video. Now, let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to begin this list with the classic Day 1 controller, which has a 55 rarity score on Console Variations. This one isn't rare in any capacity, which sort of breaks my rarity rule, but I wanted to include it anyway. It's definitely a flex to have this controller if you actually bought the console on day 1. Upwards of 10,000 of these exist, so they aren't the most valuable in the world, and they usually sell for around $30, but they're still pretty cool. Next, coming in at a 57 rarity score, is the Project Scorpio controller. Again, it's fairly minimalistic, but it has a cool design. There were a lot more of these made than the Day 1 controllers, but they seem to be more popular, and they're probably valued around $50. Next is the Colorwave Xbox One Elite Titan controller. This is a pretty cool controller to start out with. Its shtick is that the controller is extremely customizable. Extremely. Not just with interchangeable buttons, but with an app that lets you tweak settings like sensitivity for specific buttons. The glossy carbon fiber look is also pretty cool. There are only 50 of these out there, and they cost $300 at release. I would guesstimate that these have accumulated some value since release, but at the same time, Console Variations ranks them as not that rare, so I don't know, they're probably valued somewhere around that figure. Next up is the China Day 1 controller. These controllers, if you can believe it, are the Day 1 controllers released in China. You might be confused as how to differentiate these two controllers, but if you take an extremely careful look right here, you can see the word China, which gives it away. It's a pretty cool controller, and they seem to be a little hard to find in the West, so they're definitely a little bit rare. Next up on the list is the Xbox One S Acceptance Controller, sold by GameStop to raise money for charities that help teach technology skills to people with autism. I don't have much insight on this specific charity or how the charity went, but I certainly hope it went well. And the controller itself has a unique color scheme which I like, but I gotta say the dimensions of these PowerA controllers look really bad to me, so that's just my opinion. I'm not really a fan of the figure, but the design is pretty good. Now we have the Xbox Series X 117 Lakers crossover. This one is one of my favorites on the list. I don't particularly like the Lakers, but the idea is awesome. These $140 sets were available for sale for a short time at the Team LA store at the Staples Center. They included a Halo figure, a jersey with the number 117, and this awesome official controller. This is definitely one of the cooler entries, and unopened copies of this controller sell for very steep prices on eBay. Well, maybe they don't sell for that, but they're at least listed at those high prices. Now let's look at the Xbox One I Made This controller. About 3,000 of these were given to Microsoft employees, along with this console when the Xbox One released. They're very cool, and it's noted that this controller feels a little bit more rubbery than retail controllers, which is a strange detail. It came in this cool box, and they can't be found online for sale, usually at a crazy price. So I did say earlier that I wouldn't be talking about controllers made for specific games, but there are a ton of special exceptions. The Russian PUBG controller is a Russian exclusive controller that had somewhere between 1,000 and 5,000 models made. It's much cooler than the PUBG controller that was released in the West, and some have been sold online for a bit over $100, but they're probably worth much more than that. What do this controller and a boiler room at Chuck E. Cheese have in common? Well, they're both for employees only, though you might have some luck getting a hold of it by paying a stranger on the internet. The Forza Motorsport 10 controller was given to the team working on Forza 6 to celebrate 10 years of the franchise, and it's unique for its inscribed D-pad, which looks pretty sweet. Overall, this is a cool controller. Next is the XO19 controller. 1,000 of these were created ahead of XO19 in London alongside some merch as well. It's got a pretty cool abstract design, and it was originally sold for about $100. You can find them online, but for a decent price. Take a look at the Fable Legends controller, which was given away on Twitter during PAX East 2015. The controller itself is neat, but more importantly, it comes in this sweet decorative box. Overall, the combo is pretty cool. Going on to one of the Medium controllers, we've got this controller for the game Medium, which was sent out to influencers. It also came in a cool box, and it was part of a bigger marketing campaign for the game, which honestly I know nothing about, but the controller itself is alright. Honestly, the box is much cooler than the controller itself. Feast your eyes on the SCUF Forza 7 Elite controller with a balmy rarity score of 80. This licensed controller built by SCUF is very cool, not just for the controller but for what comes with it, as this was packaged with a Porsche 911 model. This was actually an official partnership with Porsche, and the controller is covered in awesome Porsche stuff like the badge on the back, leather you might find inside the car. I bet this isn't fun to play with. It looks very clunky, but it has a super cool design, and it comes with a fun toy. I'm a big fan. It's also very expensive. Next up is the official Fallout 4 controller. I love this controller. Everything about it is cool, except that it's wired. Nothing wrong with wired controllers except for the fact that they have wires, but whatever. Around 5,000 of these exist, and they were sold on Bethesda's website. You can buy them online now, usually for a couple $100. Coming up next is the Gears Tactics Locust Horde controller, which comes with both a controller and a matching charging stand. 2,000 of these were made, and they come in a very cool box. Again, sort of breaking my rule about no games controllers, but I think this stand differentiates this one, and it's definitely rarer than other iterations. And this one is really unique, and it's not really one controller. So at E3 2017, you could customize your own controller with an online design lab, but it would be stamped with a number going up to 1,000 for the 1,000 versions made for this event. So these are all inherently unique and they're worth whatever they mean to the person who made them, but having one of these is definitely a big flex for sure. Ever wanted an Xbox controller to celebrate workplace communication? Well, now you can with the Teams MVP controller. This controller was given out to employees at a Microsoft Summit, and though I can't find much info on this, Console Variation states that there are roughly 320 in existence. The design is actually an adhesive, not a paint job, which is a common theme you'll see with these Microsoft controllers. Honestly though, I think it's strangely cool. The stickers on the controller that Console Variations has pictures of look like they could have been placed much better, or at least connected at the edges, but other than that, the design is pretty neat. Alright, this one goes out to my very small Canadian audience. This is the Canada Day controller, which is a one-off prize given away by Xbox Canada's Twitter. This is an awesome design with a detailed front and a glossy cherry red back. I'm kind of confused though because there are details on this controller on the announcement that aren't actually part of the controller, so it's a weird little discrepancy there, but other than that, this controller is pretty dope. This isn't the only interesting Xbox Canada controller though, so stay tuned. Here's another controller made for a game with a unique charging stand. Behold, the Star Wars Squadrons controller. The charging stand looks great, and the controller looks good, but I don't know, it really doesn't capture the Star Wars essence for me. Otherwise, it's cool enough. Okay everyone, brace yourselves. We're now going to cover the first of a new category of controller, something very, very interesting that I didn't explain until now. French controllers. You see, like many things in France, Xbox controllers can be strange and enigmatic. Xbox France on Twitter has given out a load of niche controllers and ones that seem really funny to a non-French audience that doesn't really recognize the celebrities. This one in question is the Mr. Talk controller. Mr. Talk is a French YouTuber who received one of these controllers while one other was given away online. Obviously, this is priceless and does appear to be a pretty well-designed controller. Next up is the FIFA 15 PSG controller. 100 of these were released in France as a FIFA 15 bundle, and while the design is minimal, it's pretty cool. Next up is an Anthem controller that was released in a French press kit for the game, although some were also given out based on an online lottery. I actually like this one. This next controller is a much more popular one, especially for my American audience. You guys might have heard of this if you're into the Xbox community. This is the Pizza Hut controller. 1,140 of these bad boys exist, and you were entered to win one when you ordered a triple treat box at Pizza Hut. It's very cool, and you could typically find these controllers online for sale. Okay, this entry might be one of the funniest controllers on my list today. So, like many retailers often do, the titles for a couple of games were leaked by Walmart Canada in 2018, including that of Rage 2. On the 1-year anniversary of this leak, the Rage 2 marketing team made a giveaway of this controller, which is literally a picture of the Walmart Canada leak splashed onto the controller. It looks so bad that it's good. I honestly didn't think these were real when I first saw it. I love the humor over at the Rage 2 department, and I love this unique controller. As you can imagine though, this release is completely unlicensed, but I just had to include it. So next up is the Gamescom 2017 controller, which is essentially the same premise as the E3 one talked about earlier. These were designed by individuals and given out for Gamescom 2017. Around 600 to 700 were sold, which must have disappointed Microsoft since they numbered them up to 3,000. They were only available in Europe, and it would be really cool to have your own one of these. Here's one I really like. At XFest 2018, which is a Microsoft development conference, 200 of these controllers were handed out, with some slight color variations. They look both very functional and cool. The design is awesome, and the controller does a good job of including words and logos, but not just plastering them on the face of the controller. I'm a fan. So this next controller is pretty cool because it was given out by way of competition as opposed to a raffle. The EA Sports controllers, excuse me, hang on, let me say that again. The
EA Sports
controller was given out based on a FIFA 17 Ultimate Team competition. Somewhere between 50 to 100 exist, and they actually have a pretty cool design. Okay, so really quickly, I'm going to take a quick detour and cover some sets of controllers. So the next entry on this list is a bunch of entries. Xbox France gave away one controller for 6 characters before the release of the Age of Ultron movie. Personally, I'm not a fan of these controllers. They look like a cruddy skin that you could buy for like $10, but yeah, they exist. The next set of controllers are the French Game of Thrones promotional controllers, which were given out based on yet another Twitter raffle. This is one of the stranger sets of controllers out there, and there's definitely some questionable design going on here, but they're pretty cool. The next set of controllers are these 3 Wonder Woman controllers, which also came with handmade consoles. These were created and sold for a charity. They're all unique in their own way, and the consoles are really cool as well. Here's the Overwatch set of controllers, which were created for Overwatch's anniversary and given out as prizes. 2 of each controller exist, and the designs are very hit or miss, some missing more than others. And to close out the set theme, we've got this Anthem controller set, of which 6 were given out by Xbox Canada. The controllers themselves are fairly unique. They're not my favorite design though, but the carrying cases are really cool. If the people behind Anthem put just as much effort into the game as they did these cases, it might be in a better place today. This is another one of my favorites. This controller was made in collaboration with The Hundreds, and it's estimated that a couple hundred of these exist. It's very colorful and artistic, but not too much. It's not overcomplicated. I don't know, I just like the design. You could have won this one by buying clothing during the collaboration and winning a drawing. Here's another charity raffle controller, this time raising money for Special Effect, a charity that helps people with disabilities game, which, even though I don't know a lot about the group, it sounds like an awesome cause. This Gears 4 controller was handed out to the dev team of the game, and it is awesome. It comes in this sweet case, and the design, including the little details, are just incredible. It's estimated that around 50 of these exist. This is the Fortnite Halo Influencer controller, which, while I can't find many images of it, looks awesome. It has a picture of the Master Chief on the side who, if you weren't aware, is a popular character from the game Fortnite. I did think this controller bundle was lame, but it does appear to have been packaged with 5,000 V-Bucks, so I have since changed my mind. This next bundle is very cool. You could have won this Civilization 6 controller by either a Twitter giveaway or by being a Bethesda employee. The design is superb in my opinion, and the art book and coins are sweet as well. It's believed that somewhere around 50 of these exist. This Back 4 Blood controller was created and given out to various influencers along with some other gear, which strangely includes candles. The design is very unique, being a giant blood stain, which is a subtle nod to the title of the game. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of this because again, it looks like a cheap skin, but it exists. So after a collaboration with Warner Bros. To celebrate the highest grossing film of all time, Xbox unveiled this Space Jam controller bundle, which you could have bought via a lottery system on one of Nike's apps. I actually don't mind the design of this controller, and even without the bundle, I think it stands well on its own design-wise. It's estimated that around 50 of these controllers are out there. This next controller was given out at both the Paris Games Week 2015 event and on Xbox France's Twitter. Around 50 were made, and they certainly have a strange design, not made any better by this random logo in the corner. I can't find any pictures of these online, and oddly enough, this controller looks like the text was just applied straight onto the picture. Like, I don't think this is a real photo of the controller, which is probably done for a lot of these advertisements, but this one just looks particularly bad to me. So this probably exists, but I don't have a real picture of the thing, so maybe it doesn't. Here's a very unique controller. This guy was made for the host of the French TV show, which, I'm gonna get ripped apart for this. Touchez pas à mon poste, which literally means don't touch my TV set. One was made for the host, like I mentioned, and another was given out by Xbox France Twitter. It's alright. Quick note here, you're gonna see now that creating a controller for a celebrity and one for a Twitter giveaway is a common theme with these French controllers. This one was created for Carol Quintain, a French gaming YouTuber. It's an alright controller, I guess. Here we have another Rage 2 controller. Now this one I really like. Created and given away by Bethesda, this controller wasn't afraid to change the shape of the controller to better fit the theme of the game. You see, people aren't going to play with these collectible controllers, and yet companies still feel like they can't change the shape and scope of the controller like this one did. This one wasn't an official release, and there are only around 50 in existence, and I really like it a lot. I haven't even played the game Rage 2, but I feel like this controller fits the vibe very well. This next set of controllers was designed by Duracell to be given out by the French website Le Journal des Geeks. I really like this one, but I'm not a fan of the other. Only 4 of these exist. Here's another design for the FIFA Ultimate Team controller giveaway. Big fan of this one. The controller scheme looks great and the accents are nice as well. That's about it for this guy though. This next controller was made for Torchlight 3, a game that I had no idea existed until I saw this picture. It's a licensed release and there's probably around 50 to 100 of these out there, and it was given away by the developers on social media. It's pretty cool. Next we've got the Doom Eternal controller. I love this controller for the same reason I like the Rage 2 controller. The controller and the stand are just super duper cool. This was given away on Xbox New Zealand's Twitter. To enter to win, you had to answer what your best weapon was. Also, side note, I think these runes may mean something, so if anyone wants to look them up and put it in the comments, please do it, that'd be sweet. Anyway, this controller is super cool. Moving on. Next up, we have a couple of these twin mirror controllers. They seem to have fairly interesting designs, and they were also giveaways, and it's estimated that somewhere around 50 of them exist. This next controller, made for Torchlight 2, was given away on Xbox's Twitter account. Again, it's estimated that upwards of 50 exist, and the design is orange, I guess? I don't know, it's an okay controller. I don't know anything about this game, but it is pretty cool. Next up, we've got the Finland controller. Now, the Finland controller is really interesting for a couple of reasons. When I first looked at this, I didn't know that this was a number out of 10, and I thought maybe Xbox just thought Finland was an 8 out of 10 country, but I have since realized that there are only 10 of these controllers and they are all individually numbered. Also, for the 10 people that own this controller, if you're ever curious on when Finland was founded, you can check it out in the bottom right corner instead of looking it up on Google. This controller was given out to Microsoft employees in Finland and is really cool, especially for the fact that it has its custom box as well. These next controllers were created for the Mandalorian series. They were lottery prizes given out on Twitter as part of a collaboration between Microsoft and Disney+. I really like these designs, but again, they give me the impression of a third-party skin, so I don't really know how I feel about it. Although the colored bumpers are pretty cool. This awesome controller was given out to developers of Yakuza Like a Dragon. It's super unique. It also comes with some other merch, but the controller itself has a fantastic design. There aren't many pictures of this out there, but as you can tell, it looks sweet. This unique controller duo was made for the Godzilla vs. Kong movie. It's estimated that around 50 exist, and you could win these on social media or by buying your tickets online ahead of time. They're okay, I guess. This is the Xbox Live French controller, which is pretty unique. 2 of these were made, one was given out to a celebrity, though I'm not sure who, and the other was given out on Twitter. The design is pretty bland, but yeah, it's there. This is the Xboxygen controller, which was also given out to a celebrity and won on Twitter. Not really sure who this went through, similar to the last one, but it's much cooler than the last one. I actually really like this design. This is the Xbox One Gamer Gen controller, which also, same thing, one given out to a celebrity, one given out on Twitter. It's pretty cool. This one-off Shadow of War controller could be won by retweeting an Xbox Canada tweet. It's really cool. Personally, I'm a fan of the design. This controller, created by Pope Art, was given to the family of Kobe Bryant after his passing. Honestly, it's a phenomenal design, and I'm glad the family got this. I think it's an excellent gift. Next up is the Xbox One Seattle Skyline controller, which is quite interesting. This was given away to employees at the release of the Xbox One, and the design itself is only a sticker. But it does come with this really cool charging stand, which actually has the same pattern as the controller sticker, which is kind of interesting. It's the Seattle Skyline, but with Xbox 360s as buildings, which are kind of cool. There's somewhere around 50 to 100 of these out there, and there's currently one on eBay for quite a lot of money. These 2 controllers were made for Panathinaikos BC, a Greek basketball team. They're both pretty unique designs, and you could also buy this console, which is pretty interesting. The whole box and bundle together is really cool, but individually, the console itself is kind of ugly. It's estimated that around 50 of these were sold on the Panathinaikos BC's official store. Next up is the Xbox XFest 19 controller. Around 100 to 500 of these were made for London-based Microsoft developers, and honestly, it's pretty cool. It's a minimalistic design, but I think it's nice. So this is the Revolver controller, which was given out by Xbox Canada. It has a uniquely Western design, and oddly enough, comes with a holster, so yeah, I don't know what else to say. This is the Xbox Life controller, which was also made by Pop Art. It was given out to the Xbox Live team, and around 150 exist. This controller was made for the game Starlink Battle for Atlas. There's also some PlayStation variants, as you can see in this picture. They're pretty neat, and around 50 of them exist. This one is quite interesting. This is the Xbox Chips Ahoy controller. Why this partnership happened, I really don't know. It was a Sea of Thieves promotion where 4 of these controllers were given out on Twitter. If you've ever wanted to celebrate a combination of childhood obesity and gaming, this is the way to do it, right here with this controller. This 1 million controller was given out by Xbox France's Twitter for 1 million units of the Xbox sold. I'm not sure if that means 1 million units in France or what, but it's very unique. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, might be the best controller I've covered today. This is the KFC controller. 50 of these were given out by KFC Gaming, and there's not much more to say besides that. It's a KFC controller. Maybe you could play this on your KF console sometime, I don't know. But the design is awesome. This is one of the most American things I've seen all day. Here we've got the Fallout 76 Tricentennial controller. Created by Bethesda, a couple hundred of these were given out on social media. It's an unlicensed release, and the controller is very cool. It's much cooler than the previous Fallout controller in my opinion. This is the Xbox One MVP 2013 controller. I don't have much information on this, but I presume it was given out for Microsoft's most valuable professional, but I'm not exactly sure if that was one person or a couple people for this year, but yeah, this is the controller. The orange, gray, and neon green is certainly a unique color choice, but overall it's a neat controller. Here we've got the Solar Opposites controller. They were given out on social media to celebrate season 2 of the show, and personally I think they have a very unique design. They also came with these cool little keychains and headphones. There were multiple iterations of the controllers, and there was also a console. Alright, my Canadian fans, remember what I said about the next Canadian controller you needed to watch out for? Well, here it is, the Canadian Tuxedo controller. This is a one-off controller debuted by Xbox Canada, and I've got to say, I have no clue why this exists. A really good video of it's been done, and according to this guy, it actually does feel like denim, so yeah, there it is. This controller was made for the French Call of Duty team Hyper Games. It was only available in France at the Auchan store and could be inscribed with your gamer tag. It's pretty cool. This Colorwave controller was made for the Dishonored 2 game. It was given out by Bethesda on Twitter. Around 50 of these exist, and they were released in the United States. They're definitely pretty cool. This French controller was made for Mass Effect, and I love it. Again, we've got a change in form here, and it really shows how cool these can be if artists are willing to do more than just put a sticker on a controller. 2 of these were made, again, for some celebrity and for a Twitter giveaway, and it's very, very unique. Next up is the NBA 2K19 20th Anniversary controller. This unlicensed release was given out in Australia and New Zealand, and there are upwards of 50 of these controllers out there. The design is awesome. This European exclusive controller was released for Borderlands 3. This one too was a Twitter giveaway, and there are somewhere between 50 and 100 of them out there. This was the Battlefield 2042 controller, which was given out to influencers. I haven't actually played this game, and I know that that's probably a good thing, but this controller on its own is really cool. The color scheme is awesome, and though I don't have great pictures of it, I think the design is incredible. Big fan. Here's another Game Blast controller, this one for 2021, for that same charity we talked about earlier. Again, it's got a pretty unique design. 3 of these were given out, and you were entered in a lottery if you made a donation to Special Effect. This is the Deus Ex Mankind Divided controller. Console Variations doesn't have a specific source for this, but they believe it was given to employees. This package is super cool. So you could win this on the Monster Energy site, and this whole combo comes with this awesome case, 2 cans of Monster Energy, this sweet controller, and a Master Chief Pop figure. Though I can't get many great pictures of the controller itself, I think the design looks superb. Next up is the Tomb Raider 20th Anniversary controllers. So just these 2 controllers exist, and they were given out on social media in Germany. They're both pretty unique with this fun emblem on the back and artwork on the front. This is the Reality to Idea controller. This controller was made for a collaboration between Microsoft and Reality to Idea. The look itself is pretty unique, and there are about 10 of these out there. Next up is the one-off LGX controller, which was made for the Luxembourg gaming experience. I think this is very cool. This is the FanFest Paris 2018 controller. 6 of them were made and given out at the event. These are the PAX 2017 controllers. Now these are pretty interesting. They're not customized controllers like the ones we talked about for previous events, but you could enter to win these by tweeting a photo of yourself at the Xbox booth at PAX 2017, which would enter you in this drawing. Though the designs are different, they're all pretty cool in their own ways. This Elite controller was given out by the website Expert Zone. Somewhere between 1 and 50 of these were made, and though the design is small, the Scorpion is really cool looking. Okay, we've seen a couple of strange partnerships today, and this one is no less stranger. This is the Xbox Hollister controller. It was given out in a partnership between both Hollister and Sour Patch Kids for some reason. I don't fully understand it, but yes, it exists, and it has a pretty cool design, admittedly. I think I've announced that whatever controller I'm talking about is my favorite like 3 times in this video, but disregard whatever I've said previously because this is my favorite controller. This French controller, I have no idea what the context of this is, and I don't want to look up the context. I just want to appreciate what this is. It is a dog in a Christmas outfit with that smile on its face on an Xbox controller. I have nothing to say about this, but I love it, and I can say that one of these exists, and I would love to get my hands on it for no reason whatsoever. This is awesome. This is another Microsoft MVP Summit controller, this one given out at the Xbox MVP 2020 Summit. Console Variation speculates that there are more than one of these controllers, so I guess they were given out to a bunch of employees, but I love this design. This is actually my favorite Rare controller from Microsoft themselves. Also, the band, though just plain, is pretty cool. This is the Plants vs. Zombies Xbox controller, which was bundled with the unique PVZ console. There aren't many of these out there, and the design is pretty basic, but also awesome. This is another unique PUBG controller, this time being the PUBG Greaseproof controller. 200 of these were given out by Xbox Australia's Facebook account. They also come with a charging stand, and the glossy design is great. This is the Ori and the Will of the Wisps controller, which was given out to Microsoft employees. It's estimated that around 50 to 100 of these exist. This is the Master Chief Collection John 117 controller, which was given away in this awesome Master Chief Collection kit. Console Variation speculates that 117 of these were made, though it hasn't been confirmed. And this combo is super cool. The controller itself is alright. I love everything about it except they didn't really get the green right. I don't know, what do you guys think? Is it cool? Let me know in the comments. This is the Dirt 5 controller. It was given away on the Dirt 5 Twitter account and by Xbox UK. The design is pretty unique, and overall the sunset colors make it a pretty neat controller. Next up is the Eve Valkyrie Xbox controller. It was available if you bought the Oculus with Eve Valkyrie. It's not known how many of these controllers are out there, but the best part about this is that this game was not even released for the Xbox. You can get it on the PC and PS4, but it's a VR game. Xbox doesn't have VR. This makes 0 sense. I don't know why this controller exists, but maybe that makes it rare. I don't know. Very strange. I can't imagine like buying this game knowing that it's not on the Xbox and then getting like an offer like, hey, do you want to buy this controller for $60 extra? Like, what are you going to do with this? But yeah, it exists, and for that reason, I think it's pretty cool. Next up are the PAX 2016 controllers. Again, like the last set of PAX controllers, you could get these by posting a photo of yourself with the hashtag Xbox Sweepstakes or retweet Xbox posts on Twitter in April of that year. The controllers themselves are pretty unique as well. This is one of the Sea of Thieves controllers. Now there's a couple of different Sea of Thieves controllers, but this one specifically was given by Microsoft in a streaming party in France. It's not known how many of these were made, but it has a pretty cool wood design, and overall I think it's done pretty nicely. This is the Mortal Kombat 11 PAX controller. Given away at PAX Australia 2019, there's only one of these in existence, and I gotta say, it's a very cool way to celebrate the game. So this is a really cool controller because it's the first adaptive controller on this list. It was made for Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and there's somewhere around 1 in 50 of these out there. You don't often see variants of the adaptive controller, which makes this really interesting, and having one of these would be a super cool collector's item because you could probably like prop it up on its side, and I imagine this would just be really cool. Here's the Windows Central controller. I don't have much information on this, though I do know that there are 3 of these out there. Console Variations says it was given away by Windows Central on Beam for the launch of Minecraft Pocket Edition, but obviously Pocket Edition came out before the Xbox One did, so I'm not quite sure on that source, but honestly, it's a cool looking controller. These are the PAX 2015 controllers. These are awesome. Not only did they all have their own unique themes, but they all came with a really cool box. There's one for the Rise of the Tomb Raider, one for Mirror's Edge Catalyst, one for Fallout 4, Halo 5, Plants vs. Zombies, IGN, and Rainbow Six Siege. You could either get one by attending PAX Prime or by a Twitter giveaway. To my knowledge, one of each of these exists, and again, these are sweet. This is the Tekken 7 controller. Console Variations again doesn't have a ton of information, but this controller was a contest giveaway around the time of Tekken 7's release. It's pretty cool. I'm not sure why it's so rare, but it is a pretty cool controller. These are the Assassin's Creed Valhalla controllers. Again, this was a Twitter giveaway, and it's not clear exactly how many of these exist, but the designs are certainly unique. This is the EA Elite controller. It's a very unique controller, 3 of them exist, and it was given out via a contest on EA's Twitter. Alright, here we go. Mountain Dew! This is the Mountain Dew controller. 10 of these were given away in a contest that required you to have 45,000 points on Nation gear. It was bundled with a Mountain Dew console, and yeah, I gotta say, it's a very cool controller. This is the XO18 controller. Now, Console Variations doesn't have a ton of information on this, though 15 of them were made, and honestly, the design is just incredible. It's very intricate, it's very artistic, but it also fits into the controller well, and I'm a huge fan. Here's the Crackdown 3 controller, and they were given away online. If you managed to win the giveaway, you would have your own gamertag inscribed on the controller, which is awesome. Alright everyone, we are going to finish off this list with an incredibly expensive and unnecessary Xbox controller. This is the Xbox Gucci controller. Yes, that's a thing. So if you didn't know this existed, you could get this controller in a $10,000 Xbox Series S bundle that came with all this. This was a collaboration between Microsoft and Gucci, and is certainly a contender for the most expensive Xbox One controller. Alright everyone, thank you for sticking with me for that whole video. I know that was a lot. I'm getting tired. There was so much to read. There are so many of these controllers out there, but I really thought this was an interesting subject. There are so many of these controllers that are given away on Twitter, and there really isn't a good summary of all of them, so I thought I'd throw my hat in the ring and take care of it for everyone. I know it wasn't perfect. There are definitely some I missed, but I want to know down in the comments below what your guys' favorite controller was, and I hope to see y'all soon. Have a good night, everyone.